People call me the Pokémon Professor. This world is inhabited by creatures called Pokémon. For some people, Pokémon are pets. Others use them for fights. Myself, I study Pokémon as a profession.
The Pokémon franchise has been entertaining people and leading them to become a Pokémon master as early as 1996. The heart and soul stem from a Japanese video game designer, Satoshi Tajiri. He got the idea of a Pokémon video game from his experiences earlier as a kid collecting insects. Growing up, Satoshi became a fan of video games and contributed to fanzine Game Freak. He later joined Game Freak and presented the idea of Pokémon. In Japan, Pokémon Red was released as the first installment as opposed to other countries where Pokémon Blue was released as the first version in 1998. The games were introduced on Game Boy Color handheld devices and led to a multi-billion-dollar franchise as it expanded to anime TV series, movies, and countless commercial products. Tajiri is currently the executive producer of Game Freak, and the Pokémon franchise stands over at $30 billion. Following Pokémon Red and Blue's initial success, 4 more generations were released with advancements in both gameplay and aesthetics, one of which was a remake of the games that started it all. In 2004, Red and Blue were reborn as Fire Red and Leaf Green.
The core gameplay mechanics of the Pokémon games didn't change much in the 8 years between the release of the first generation, Red and Blue, and the third generation, Fire Red and Leaf Green. However, in that short time, Game Freak and Nintendo did quite a bit of tweaking behind the scenes. The main objective of the games has always been to catch as many different kinds of Pokémon as possible and defeat other trainers in battle, all while training to defeat the Elite Four and become the ultimate Pokémon master. The addition of natures, new types, new Pokémon, and an overhaul of the base stat system added a whole new level of strategy to these seemingly childish games. In Red and Blue, every Pokémon had 4 base stats: attack, defense, speed, and special. In Fire Red and Leaf Green, the special stat was divided into the more specific special attack and special defense. Pokémon abilities and natures were also introduced in Generation 3, adding an entirely new level of difficulty. There are a total of 25 Pokémon natures, which are randomly assigned to each individual Pokémon. Natures change the way certain stats grow as the Pokémon's overall level increases. Abilities are specific to certain Pokémon. While most abilities only affect gameplay during battle, some of them are active when not battling. Abilities can affect anything from stats to weather conditions during battles, or the time it takes for a Pokémon egg to hatch. The 2 new types added, Steel and Dark, required even the most experienced players to come up with a brand new approach to choosing a winning team. In addition to all the gameplay changes, Game Freak was also able to utilize new technology to refresh the look and feel of the Pokémon games.
In the 8 years between the remake releases, Nintendo introduced a brand new gaming console to replace the Game Boy Color, the Game Boy Advanced. The platform leap allowed for the 8-bit sounds and graphics to jump to 32-bit, a huge difference. The same third-person overhead view and 2D movement access was used, but a ton of new sound effects and varied music tones helped bring the game to life. Subtitles were still the only method of dialogue, but many people have attributed their ability to read at a young age to Pokémon subtitles, just one of the many ways Pokémon has impacted the lives of millions.
The Pokémon Red and Blue series and the Pokémon Fire Red and Leaf Green series were a worldwide commercial success. In Japan, Pokémon became very popular, selling more than 1 million copies of Pokémon Monsters in 1996. Arriving in the United States in 2004, the Red and Blue version sold more than 200,000 units in 2 weeks, then continued to sell at an average of 800,000 units per month. At that point in time, they were the best-selling game in the history of video games. As the television series grew in popularity, so did Hasbro, which surpassed its main competitor Mattel in 2000. The phenomenon also affected European countries like France, where the Red and Blue versions were the best-selling games of 1999, and 1 million copies of each were sold as of June 2000. Pokémon is everywhere. With the release of Pokémon Red and Blue versions to the United States, it has blown up to such a phenomenon where different cultures can come together to engage and strategize in game playing. Pokémon has become much more than a video game. It taught a generation of kids that they are more than consumers. They are participants, experts, and creators of media.